Hello, my name is James, and welcome to day 21 with The Division. I'm here once again with editor of GamesRadar, Andy Hartup.
Hello.
Hello, and Andy, after 21 days, this is basically going to be our review video.
That's correct, yeah.
Because you have finally put a score on it.
I feel I've played it enough to score it, yeah.
Okay, well, we'll get to the score in a bit. So why has it taken this long for you to score it?
I'm just really slow at playing games.
That's what I thought.
No, because it's a big old game. There's a lot of elements of it that are online. Ubisoft have got massive plans for it. So I needed to play as much as I could before I felt comfortable enough to drop a score on it, because that's what you'd expect. I mean, you can't just play a game for 8 hours and drop a score on it if it's something that is expected to last months and months.
So you've reached the level cap of level 30
Correct.
in the PvE.
Yes.
How are you doing in PvP?
I'm doing okay, actually. I'm doing okay. I haven't spent as much time in the Dark Zone as I have playing the main game, because I wanted to get up to level 30 to sort of unlock the end game. But I can hold my own in the Dark Zone, especially in the sort of the edge bits. When you start to get into the middle, it gets a lot more complicated and a lot harder. But you know, I'm confident enough. Yeah.
I should point out the footage you're seeing on screen is from my character, not Andy's.
No.
Because Andy hasn't given me any footage.
Well, my jacket isn't as snazzy as yours. So.
No. So it is from this is mid-20s level, which obviously is now being ranked up, and Andy's played to level 30. So it's representative of what you do in the game, but it's not specifically the things that Andy was doing.
No. And plus, your guns aren't cool enough.
That's right. They're not. None of them are yellow. Actually,
Ooh.
I know they're all purple.
Yeah,
it's disappointing. So let's talk about the game then. Once you get to the end and you've done all of the main missions, what is left?
There's a couple of things left for you to do. I mean, there's the daily mission, which is like a really, really hard version of the main missions, and I mean, they're really, really hard. You need to be a well-coordinated team to do them. They take quite a long time to do, but the rewards you get, they're pretty good. You get all sorts of drops for them, stuff that is better than the content you would get just playing through the main game. Although Ubi have been very careful to say that they've balanced the game to give better drops for people who just want to play on their own or just want to sort of solo the main story. And there's the challenge missions as well, which are very tough and very long. We discussed all this stuff in more detail in the last video, but there is an end game of sorts. It's not particularly exciting, it's just more of the same. So I found it quite tedious quite quickly, and because of my personal situation, I've got family, I found it very, very difficult to finish many of the challenge missions because they take so damn long. I can't commit to that amount of time. But at the same time, it's only the same as people committing to doing raids. Although these aren't the Division's raids, the Division's equivalent of raids are going to be the incursions, which are coming soon. No one's got a date for those yet.
No, and I guess that's the time when we'll know if the Division is going to have a life beyond what it's currently got at the moment. Yeah,
I mean, as I explained in my review, I feel like I've played the game enough to score it now, even though I haven't played the incursions, because I think that the combat model, although it's perfectly fine, it's great, the way that you navigate around the cover is fantastic. It's really, really seamless, and it's all about sort of creating angles on your enemies and working as a team. I do genuinely like that. I did feel that the combat model is a bit limited because you're all on one level, so there's no verticality to it, and there isn't the maneuverability of other games like Halo, Destiny, things like that. You can move and really sort of vary your gameplay a lot more in those. But I don't feel like anything the incursions can add will change the game significantly because of that. I don't see how that they can radically alter the way the game plays. Whereas in Destiny, anyone who's played the raids like the Vault of Glass, Crota's End, things like that, the gameplay does change dramatically when you're doing the raids. It is very, very different. Now, if the incursions do change things up, and maybe it's just my limited imagination, I don't know, I've nothing against the Division. If they do change it up, then I will revisit my review and say, okay, the incursions are here, they do X, Y, and Z, and this changes my opinion of the game. But until they arrive, it's set. So it's a 4 out of 5, it's on GamesRadar now, And it's for one of those reasons.
So like the score is very much based on the game as it is now, rather than what it could be in the future.
Yeah, we can't speculate on that. But what I have been careful to do is play it as much as possible and sample everything that the game has to currently offer before we drop the score on it, which is what I did.
So 4 out of 5 then.
Yep.
What is missing from it that could push it over the edge? Apart
Space magic.
That's what I thought.
That's what's missing from
Space magic.
This has been quite divisive, actually, because some people leaving comments say, I absolutely agree. Other people going, you can't compare this game to Destiny because X, Y, and Z. Well, when I say space magic, what I mean is there's nothing that really sort of radically changes the way you play. You turn up, you take cover, you shoot something, and that's about it. You have different perks on your guns, and you can have different abilities, like you can heal people, you can drop turrets, stuff like that. But there is no equivalent to, turning into a man who throws burning hammers or shooting lightning out of your fingers. And whereas that seems a little bit silly, and some people will say, well, it's a Clancy game, of course you can't do that, it's grounded in reality. That is one of the things that keeps a shooter like Destiny fresh. And make no mistake, The Division wants to be Destiny. It wants to occupy your time for months and months and months. And the big difference between the two, and this isn't a reflection on The Division, The Division's combat is great at what it does, but Destiny's combat works, and people keep coming back to it because it creates enough variety and enough, like magic moments, the stuff that you can really chain together your abilities and do all kinds of different things, work out really different ways of playing. That's what Destiny does really well, and it's why it's captured people's imagination for thousands of hours. The Division doesn't have that. It's a perfectly great cover shooter on its own. It does things really, really well. The Dark Zone is amazing. But what it doesn't have is that variety, and that's why I don't think people will still be playing it. Like, the majority of people won't be playing it to the same extent that they do with something like Destiny.
Yeah, and it's got some really good things. Like the matchmaking in The Division is pretty good.
It's really good.
To be able to just go in and do a mission with some random people.
I mean, technically speaking, it's a very robust game. Really good. I've had a few bugs, like to start with, it was taking a little while to detect my bullet hits, things like that. I know I haven't experienced it, but some people have experienced problems where you get to the end of the daily mission, your whole team has to quit out before you get the rewards. Just stupid stuff like that. But technically speaking, it's a really solid game. Like, if you look back to how other games have been, stuff like Battlefield, even Star Wars. Actually, Star Wars was pretty good. Battlefield, Destiny. When it first launched, these games were a bit of a mess. But The Division is technically very, very tight. It has its problems, but it is technically tight.
I guess some of the things that I feel when playing it that are missing from it is when you're traveling around the world, just doing side missions and other things like that, you don't see anybody else unless you've sort of invited them into your game. Mm-hmm. So it feels pretty empty, which I guess is part of the point of it being, in the post-virus diseased city thing. Mm-hmm. But in other games, you at least see people milling about doing other things, and it feels like there's a bit of life going on.
Yeah, I think if I was to pull out one of the criticisms of the game, it is that it is a cold game. It's
winter, Andy.
Yeah, exactly. it's meant to be freaking cold. It's very, very stat driven. It's very sort of clinical. There's no warmth to it, and like you said, there's no one wandering around. There's just sort of random NPCs. There's no. That's the best way I can describe it. There's no warmth to the world. I don't care about any of the characters. If you thought the Destiny story was lame and its characters are crap, The Division, I honestly couldn't remember a single person I met in The Division. Not one person. Like, none of the NPCs. And that even extends to the way that the community's been built within the game. Like, people I've match made with, I've played with friends and that was great, but yeah, it was fairly limited. But the people I've match made with, there's been no sense of community with them. They have got to the end of the mission, and I just seen a list of people dropping out, and that's it. Because there's nothing to bond over. There's no real shared experiences because the combat lacks that X factor. It's very difficult to do those extreme things that people remain together and talk about. So you can go through a mission and you can go, oh yeah, remember that time, when we were at the end and you healed me and I got up and I shot some men. Yeah, that was great, wasn't it? There's no sense of that. Or yeah, remember how we ploughed bullets into that bullet sponge boss for like 10 minutes? these aren't the sort of things that people bond over, and the Division really lacks those core experiences that keep people together. And like, for want of a better term, create a warmth around the game, a sense of community, and that is what it's lacking.
I tell you what else it's lacking: transport. I have to walk everywhere. Like, I know there's safe houses to fast travel through.
James.
I got a give me a motorbike.
You're not allowed. There's too
Why
much
aren't I allowed?
stuff. There's too much stuff in
I'm
the
like
streets
a highly
to hide
trained
behind.
government agent. Why can't I ride
And
a
you
motorbike?
can run. You obviously fit.
Yes, well, that's just maybe a personal thing from me. All right, so in summary then, 4 out of 5 for The Division. We might revisit it when the incursions come back if they add anything new.
Yep.
But for now, that is the score that you're giving it.
I've already given it, yep.
Already given it.
Yep.
Okay, Andy.
Can I go back now?
No, that's it. Set in stone, almost. Right. Well, thanks for joining us and thanks for listening. Let us know what you think about The Division in the comments below. Are you still playing it? What are you going for if you're still playing it? Are there specific guns to aim for, anything like that? Let us know in the comments, and we will be back with more Division very soon, right here on GamesRadar Plus.